This video provides an introduction to how to use the Longitude command line interface. So my installation of Longitude is currently not monitoring anything, and we're going to use the command line to configure Longitude to both monitor servers and applications and to stop monitoring servers and applications as well. To get more detail on the Longitude command line syntax, when you install the software on the Longitude command directory, there's a couple of PDF files. There's the command line PDF and the application properties PDF. The command line is basically giving you the commands. Okay, the commands have properties. So for example, if you're monitoring SQL 2016, there are certain properties you have to give Longitude so it knows, for example, what database driver to use, what database URL to use. If you're using SQL authentication, for example, a user and a password. There's also, if you go right to the PowerShell and type help, so as you can see at the top, a Longitude help, and you get all kinds of help from the technology as well. Okay, so I have a naming convention here that I'm going to use where I'm going to give a comment about what I'm going to do before I do it. So the first thing I'm going to want to do is just list the servers where I'm monitoring Windows. And remember, when we showed you the interface, we weren't monitoring anything. So actually, if I just do a Longitude list an app /A is application, Windows is the application. Longitude comes back and says, hey, I'm not monitoring anything right now. So I'm going to show you how to use the command line syntax to, well, let's start with something simple. Let's monitor servers called Poland and SQL.test, SQL 2016 rather, for Windows OS related issues. So what that is, that's a Longitude monitor command. So it's Longitude monitor, A for applications, C for computer. So I'm going to monitor the Windows application in Poland. And I also want to monitor the Windows application on my SQL server as well. The next thing I want to do is actually monitor SQL on my SQL server. And remember earlier I showed you in the help, if we go back to the help here, Longitude needs to know about the database driver and the database URL at a minimum. And here we see a little bit more detail. So I'm going to specify that and tell Longitude to monitor SQL Server. The next thing I want to do maybe is group these servers. Groups are really helpful in Longitude. For example, you can take actions based on a group, you can display based on a group, you can report based on a group, and I'm going to create a group called development and add computers to that group. And that is the Longitude group command. Okay, so it's Longitude /group /computer Poland /group is development, and I tell Longitude to monitor that group. If the group isn't there, Longitude will create the group. Now while I'm doing this, the other thing I want to mention is there's an ini file that's giving me the credentials to log into the Longitude console. If you don't have that ini file set up, then there's a /user command and a /password command, because you don't want just anybody accessing the Longitude console. Okay, but for the sake of brevity here, I've already configured that elsewhere in an ini file. So here I've added both my node called Poland and my node called SQL2016.test.net to a group called development. Now if I want to list all the computers in that group, so I'll just say list all the devices in that group. That's a list in group command. And you can see both Poland and SQL 2016 are in that group. Let me just move this up a little bit. And let's list all the servers where we're actually monitoring the Windows operating system. Remember, we told Longitude that we wanted to do both Poland and SQL 2016. So I'm just use the Longitude list in app command. So that's monitoring Windows. If I want to do the same thing for SQL 2016, I'll just do the same thing here. And we'll do a list in app for SQL 2016. And we can see we're monitoring SQL 2016 as well. I'm also pinging those machines. So what I'm going to do is just show you how you tell it which ones are you pinging. Display that for me. And that's what's called a transaction. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell Longitude, let's do this. Oops. Let's use the list in app command for transactions. So apps transactions, the transaction type is a ping, and we're pinging both Poland and SQL 2016.test. So let's see what this looks like in the Longitude interface. So I'm going to bring up the web interface for Longitude, and you can see that when I go to my computers here on Poland, we're pinging the box and we're monitoring Windows on it. On SQL 2016.test.net, we're monitoring SQL, and we're monitoring the default instances, and these are all the things that this instance of Longitude's configured to collect. We're also pinging the box, and we're also grabbing Windows metrics. So we're listing things based on computer, based on applications. So there's our two Windows servers, there's our SQL server, and here's the two servers that we're pinging. And remember, we created that group called development. Here's our development group. Okay, so let's minimize this for a second. Now I can also tell Longitude to stop monitoring altogether, or even temporarily stop monitoring. So one of the things you can do in Longitude is you can suspend the monitoring. So let's say you're going to be working on some servers for a little while and you just want to tell Longitude to stop monitoring those machines, but just be at the ready when you want to re-enable it. So what I can do is there's a suspend command. So Longitude suspend the group development. So any servers that are in the group development, Longitude's going to temporarily stop monitoring. It's just going to let them be there. They're in limbo, if you will. If I want to resume monitoring, I just use the resume command. And that's as simple as Longitude resume. And again, the group is going to be called development. Okay. What you can also do is say, hey, I'm going to be decommissioning my server called Poland, and I just want to remove monitoring of the Windows operating system from it. So what I can do is I have remove monitoring of Windows on Poland. Remember, that's the only thing I'm monitoring on it. So let's do that. Longitude remove application Windows computer Poland. Now if I'm decommissioning a group of machines, so let's remove monitoring for all devices in the development group. It's a remove all command. If I go back to the Longitude interface here, I'll just refresh it, and we'll go back to our monitoring view here, and you can see everything's empty. Again, very quick, very easy. You can embed these Longitude commands in any of your PowerShell scripts as well. To learn more about Longitude, feel free to click on the link below or email us at sales@heroics.com.